Hello, my name is Alexander, and today we're going to be doing a revised video. So, over the last 3 parts of this series on reviewing this video, I just noticed that there was no audio coming out from the video itself. So I'm going to be doing a bit of a revised video, trying to do it under 30 minutes. So, yeah, let's get watching.
Hey everybody, Unciv Gaming here, and today
And it appears that his settings here are a rectangular map shape, a Pangea, world-size medium, Deity, and you're playing against 4 AI. I played on this type of map setting before, and you're gonna need to settle a lot of cities if you're gonna need to keep up with the AI's is amount of land. And I mean, you seem to be really good at more cities. I mean, judging from your playstyle over your previous videos, your playstyle is let the game and do all the stuff for you and just focus mainly on combat. In some ways, that could be a detriment. Actually, he's got all the victory conditions on. He's only made it to the mid game here. I'll show you how some aspects of your playstyle will be a detriment on Deity.
playing on Diety difficulty as suggested
Actually, it's pronounced D if you look it up.
by Alex the Grape. And
Hey, that's me.
Play on the world-size medium, and it's just temperature extremeness is just put down a bit. Map there we go. There we go. And hide the advanced settings, and that's
Oh look, there's the Philippines mod and the USSR nation.
okay, so the report.
So your selling location here is really great. You have 2 luxuries and a sheep in range. You can potentially trade at least a luxury to the AI and try and get another settler and our building in one of your cities. The sheep is really good production, but so is the hill tiles if you manage to get a mine on there. I mean, you can always get extra production from just working a plains farm tile. And if you pay attention to what the AI assigns C production on, and I'll judge the buildings based on that onto whether or not you really need them from a DD player perspective. Yes, each individual thing in the queue, each individual action. Animal husbandry is actually really good here since you are gonna get sheep. But if you're working on settlers, then you can just work a farm on that tile, right away for the extra production. And I mean, you can just snag 2 population and then have working in a farm tile and a sheep farm tile, and then you will be able to get a settler in 6 turns and quick speed. But since it is standard, it's gonna be 9 turns.
So he told me that
you're going for a worker into a settler. I mean, that's not a really terrible choice. However, if you look at one of Tankicorn's videos, Kai Norin, and he will do a very cheesy little trick here. Save immediately on turn 0. Disband a unit. Boom! You have the entire map and spawn areas of the AI, and you can save here and just literally type in. And I know that Tengai doesn't do this, but just type in the civ that you're playing here her, and then just name it map. There, you have a map up. You don't always need to scout. You can just disband your settler immediately and then have an entire map at your disposal. Worker stealing and can really save you all. If you steal a couple workers from the AI and manage to save those workers and or warriors and scouts that you have on your own, then you can really save a lot of production on a worker. I mean, an early worker is not too bad if you don't plan on stealing worker from the AI to weaken it or stealing city-state workers. There's a early worker in your city is not too bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's far more better to save that production on something else like a warrior or settler. Besides, you can always steal a worker. Anyway, it's straight from the beginning. The AI gets that an early advantage, so take advantage of that and then steal a worker from said AI. Remember to be smart about it though. You might lose one of your workers and potentially warriors. You might lose your warriors and scouts and potentially workers. That's what I meant to say here. Mining. You've met China here so far. Mining is not a terrible tech to research. It's for production purposes. I mean, since you know that the AI is gonna have a lot of cities, which means more production. And mining is not necessarily a terrible tech to choose, since it's on the route to getting spearmen via bronze working and to construction. And when it comes to the AI, you have to know your enemy. As you saw here, the AI starts with settlers, 2 settlers, 2 workers, and 3 warriors very early on, and a scout. Having an army this early, the AIs know that you're gonna be weak, so they'll try to declare war on you immediately. Fortunately, the AI is just AI. It's not a human. It's not smart. It's just a robotic person having robotic decisions. I mean, to be honest, from a design perspective, these civilizations should really have a decision tree in my personal opinion. But anyway, that's not the point. In here, the AI also starts with pottery, animal husbandry, and mining. If you look at the trade menu, what? Once you meet them. Hey, and we've met Gandhi. What do you have here? Oh look, you have extra gold per turn. You have animal husbandry, mining, and pottery. Well, that is just nice. At least they don't have archery, because otherwise, that would be so darn powerful. Fun fact: if a civilization and has a chariot archer replacement, then there is such a chance, depending on the circumstance, that the AI's warriors will be replaced by the chariot archer replacements or equivalent. The AI also plays on chieftain, which I'm just gonna settle this city right away. here on a plains tile, and even on a plains tile, uh, 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 you're gonna need have a really decent amount of production, and just as for a monument and a settler. However, if you found a city on DD difficulty, yeah, 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 you will discover that you will have a lot less production than usual. So so that means that the AI has science and culture and a production bonus against you. Oh, the AI also likely has a combat against you since and the difficulty increases your. Alright. The lower the difficulty, the higher the damage. That's what I'm about to say here. Unciv Gaming, if you want to get the feeling of what playing as the AI is like, try Chieftain and you'll see why the AI is powerful. Well, if you played a bit of Chieftain at least once, as I have with Russia, then you'll discover that the more cities you have on this difficulty, the more powerful you will get. However, if you try to make more cities as you go on Diety, you'll discover that you'll have is a happiness, cultural, gold, and science problems. So, it's highly ill-advised against hence more cities unless if you need to compete with land expansion like I did with my Russia playthrough. Yes, I did play as Russia, just to show you how easy it is for me to beat Diety. And from the wiki here, I think the AI also has bonuses for making tile improvements and faster. So that's knowing your enemy. Yeah.
A Diety says you have to, what do you call this?
Cool your research mining and as I said, his playstyle is make his own parents do the work for him and let him do the studying. I mean, what my aunt will say about that is that you're gonna need to learn some life skills, boy. You might not last as very long in the real world. This method here goes the same thing with Civ. If you don't know how to play this difficulty manually, and if you're not a highly skilled player, then you'll see that it's extremely hard to beat.
Okay, I quite forgot. You have to,
Traditionally it's nice. It's for a 4 to 6 city civilization / nation, or, and what I meant by slash is or, huh? It's really gonna help you with growth here, especially against very, very strong AIs with a lot of land.
be technologically more. You have to be more technologically advanced.
You know, if I knew sooner about how to communicate and dumb things down, then I think Yusuf wouldn't have misunderstood me. Yeah. I think what I said here on a comment and somewhere down the line here is that you're gonna need to put a science production for this. You're gonna need to prioritize science. And since Unciv is basically a student who does who basically barely knows any skills metaphorically in game. He really does not know what I really meant. I'll, I'll define and you dumb things down for you. Uh, being more uh, producing science production does not always mean technologically advanced. You can be producing a lot of science and yet it's still all not out tech a runaway science AI. You'll be at level with them. How do you produce science in this game? The more population, the more science, so you're gonna need to focus on science on food here. So I'll go for the tiles with the most food in quantity. If there's literally no other food tiles but a one food tile, work that one food tile. If there's a two food tile, work that two food tile. Like this wheat tile when you get the granary. If you're working a 3 food tile, if you have a 3 food tile, work that food tile, you're gonna need a lot of food. The sole reason right is more food equals more population, and more population equals more science. If you double click here, you'll discover that you can actually build science buildings for once, such as public schools. So what you're gonna need to do here is go straight for the technologies that give you science buildings, such as education for the university, philosophy for the national college if you have it in all of your cities, public schools for the scientific theory for the public schools, and plastics for research labs. I also highly recommend going straight for fertilizer, since chemistry will increase your production of your mines and quarries and manufactories. And fertilizers, I can make your lands fertile by +1 food in each of these tiles. So how do you manage around your population here on Diety? Well, I'm gonna unassign all this population just to start. You need more food, and since the most food I can get from these tiles here is 3, I don't see any plains in tiles. I have fertilizer research, so I don't have 4 food tiles, but what I do have is tiles that will give me 3 food. I will first work the food tile. Well, here, since it's gonna give me the most food, and I don't have any more 4 food tiles. Also, I'm gonna work these 3 food tiles. And since this tile has more production, I'm gonna work this tile. And I don't know about this feature about lock though. And if you are managing population here, make sure to work science specialists. They give you great scientists. Since there's 3 food on here, you're gonna need to work here. Since I can only work 2 food tiles now, I can work a coast tile, but since these tiles also have 1 gold towards my civilization, I'm gonna place it here for economic reasons. That's just a short example of how you should arrange into your population in here. You're gonna need to have a heavy focus on science. Science does not mean technologically advanced. It means that you're gonna need to focus a lot on food, but have an emphasis towards happiness buildings by actually manually building them. And you're gonna need to manually work on culture. You're gonna actually need to learn how to actually manually build stuff. what you're gonna need to do is go onto the options menu. And click. Make sure the all scientific production here says no, and all bulletin roads no. You'll eventually learn how to manually manage your empire and not be some weird university student who barely knows any life skills at all. Ironically. I mean, you're in-game here, Unicef. You're a person that barely he has learned to walk and talk. You, it looks like you haven't even learned anything since the day you were born, but in-game, here metaphorically, yeah, manually work your cities and pay attention to the notifications here in this area. Just because next turn's here does not mean you can micromanage a bit. Also, you're gonna need to work on culture and go down rationalism. There might be a few exceptions, such as my gameplay through Babylon, but go down rationalism and go and try and fill out the rationalism, and culture will equal science in the long term. So you're gonna need to manually work a temple and opera house, and maybe a monument if you have 5 or more cities. Yeah, that's. I mean, this seems to be a problem with Civ. It's the same thing. You have the optimal dominance strategy here, and if you go work on other things such as culture and happiness, then you're punished for it due to the sheer difficulty of the difficulty here. I don't know what I just said, but let's see. But when it comes to national wonders, there's Oxford University and the National College are 2 wonders that you're gonna need. The National College you're gonna need around turn 100. It's standard, or quick speed. I don't know about epic and marathon. Oxford University, you're gonna need around turn 140. I mean, I have had games where I played without Oxford, but it's highly recommended since it really boosts science in your capital, and it also provides you free technology. So that's what I meant by in the comment a long time ago. It does not mean It does not always mean technologically advanced. Due to the technological advantage the AI will have. Okay, bad example. Well, here. Due to the technological advantage the AI will have, and the fact that there can be a Civ that will really run away with a lot of science, and you may not get to the point where you're technologically advanced. There's some miscommunication there, use of gaming. And I meant prioritize science production, not let's be technologically advanced, and you're gonna be way behind in technologies in the beginning. And in the end game, in the mid to late game, you don't seem to really work too much on science manually, cough cough. So I'm TLD. Your work on science production. Ask me how and how specific I should tell you about it. And if I haven't explained it, it's largely enough here. Producing, prioritizing science production will not always mean technologically advanced in the end. At the beginning and middle, you won't be technologically advanced. Beginning and mid game, late game you will have a chance to be technologically advanced, as you said and like to say, but you won't be technologically advanced for the most part on daily.
More cities.
Unciv Gaming, and you should be aware of the fact that the more cities you have, the more science you need to fill out cultural policies and technologies. It's it's as long as you work like science and culture buildings, you're gonna be fine. But since you let the game stuff for you, I will judge. It's It's the auto assigned C productions AI based on their decisions, and if they really should be doing a building that said unit or building.
Because not only that, it would be a huge help for expansion. It also increases the size quite a lot. Be
Yeah,
a huge help for expansion. It also increases the science here.
yes, I know. Oh, I know that more cities also increases the science, but more cities does not always make a difference. And I heard that in an update with you who can no longer be a scientifically advanced and and big empire here. Having more cities is having more than four cities is will not make a difference. That it's too much unless if you are working production towards an military and you build a settler this early on. You should be working on food. Work the sheep since you're working. Since you're gonna need the population. Population in the long run will equal more production. So, you should work. If I were you, I should be working the sheep tile. Oh, and once I get to population number 2, you have the choice of either going towards your uh, own hill tile or one of your unimproved luxury tiles. Once you have a farm and a mine, then and you can just start producing like settlers. Am I doing, let's see, the right playthrough? I actually got more cities than you would have possibly imagined, mainly because it was a skilled and experienced player on DD. Judging by this totally not blurry screen here of mine and one of my videos of Iran into Persia, I literally just got 4 cities, and yes, you also had 4 cities, but at by the next video here, the expansion is built up.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex.
I actually had plans to settle westward, and I will show you my lovely little empire by a turn 150 or around that time. You see units have this is really it's disappointing that you really didn't get to this point where you've settled a lot of cities is through your strategic amount of land and that you had at here. Over in your game, let's pretend this map was here. China's here, Siam's likely here, and Iran is here, and you're here. You could have had a lot of cities around this area, but no. Oh, wait. You really don't know how to play AD. Yeah. 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 And with this playthrough, it was actually a very interesting experience in that I had a lot of this land. And so I scooped all of it up, and in the long run, I became really strong. If you're playing with this amount of cities, and you're playing manually, make sure you manage your happiness well. Oh. Make sure you prioritize on population growth and building more or science buildings. It's maybe a few population growth buildings here and there, but at you like like get to the point. And if you and also you've questioned about how the problem of being technologically unadvanced here, on why these ships are technologically advanced. It's because they're playing on Chess 10 with a lot of unknown bonuses here. Unciv, if that actually answers your question of why you're technologically unadvanced while the others are technologically advanced, as you say, if that doesn't answer your question, then I'm not really sure how you know how science works in this game. I mean, I know how science works. You should too at this point in the near experience. Okay, this is over 3 minutes.
Question here. How far would it have to be for us to
So I presume that what you're actually about to say here is how long it would take to be technologically advanced. Well, if you follow what I say on one of the forums here, work a lot of population food by double-clicking on your cities and micro-changing a bit more on population. Work a lot of food tiles, just like in that demonstration I showed to you earlier. Alright, if you constantly work on science buildings and population growth, manage your happiness well. Work your luxuries ASAP at the beginning, by manually working your workers, and after that, from that point in forward, you can automate them. But the early to mid game will impact your late game, as in the ancient and classic era, the medieval Renaissance and industrialized mid-game here. If you manage to get the National College, go straight towards education, manually build universities in all of your cities. Once you have that, work National College, go straight toward its scientific theory for the public schools. Work a public school in all of your cities. Make sure you're working on science specialists by manually working in population here. Like this. Make sure this lovely little city icon goes down by tapping on City Center, and then you can double click. Let's say I have a lot of food here. Let's work science specialist, because it's not only they give you a really big science boost here, but they will give you great scientists points here. I have 54 great scientist points. Oh, what's that? No, I have 62. Why do you need great scientists? Well, why do you need great scientist points? Well, they give you great scientists, and great scientists will help you hurry up technologies, or it will in the long run provide you with a academy. Culture-wise, you can try and manually work a temple and a opera house in all of your cities, and then go straight towards archaeology, which will get you the hermitage. Does anybody know how to pronounce this? I think the internet does. The hermitage. It gives you bonus culture if you work it's in your city. Also, pro tip: if you settled a city next to a mountain, once you get astronomy, you have the ability to build a observatory, which will grant you a 50% and science bonus. One of your playstyles here is to try and build a lot of wonders. Wonder building will take an immense amount of luck, unless if you're experienced like me and are able to take down a lot of civilizations like very early. You aren't reduce them to a city-state, like here. Unless if you're experienced like me and who can weaken the civilizations very early on. Unless if you can do that, then you may or may not be able to get these wonders here. I mean, let's be honest, here you can make all these other cities do the work for you, and then conquer their cities later on in the game. Points towards forehead. How do you work science specialist? Simple. See this glowing person here? Why is this glowing? It's because I'm working this tile. What happens if I tap on that? Oh wait, it grew dimmer. What's that? I have unassigned population? What am I gonna do with this assigned population? Well, you can tap this plus button here, right next to the science symbol here. And boom, you're working more science specialists. The same goes for other science specialists. For other specialist buildings. For example, if you have a windmill and workshop, you can work specialists in the windmill and the workshop to get great engineers. The great engineers will be useful for production purposes long term, but it will also grant you the ability to get wonders. It's very, very quickly due to its ability to hurry wonders. Great artists will either grant you a golden age or boost your science input, unless if you will disband the units. Great generals, how you get them is through military attacking and experience. Great merchants are used for buying off city-states, alliances, and potentially making a customs house to boost your economy. From what I've seen from your experience and gameplays in this game, is that you I'll make great improvements, but you don't work on the tiles here. Huh? What do I mean? Well, how do you know? Well, let me ask you this question, boy. How do you know if you're working these tiles here? Huh? I know that I'm working it based on the fact that at, at, at these icons, tile yield icons here are glowing, and this person icon here is also glowing. But once if I tap it, I get unassigned population, and I have less science. Oh, what's that? I have more science here. What your grade are here? It's the same thing in here. This is how you treat great people for improvements. You place an improvement here, and you don't work it at all. That's such a waste. It's once you got a great improvement, reassign your you should reassign your population to work on the improvements. Depending on your great person improvement, it could either boost your science here, boost your culture, your production, or your gold input. Gold per turn.
I have a problem here. They're more technologically advanced than me.
I've told you countless times on how to prioritize science production and what I mean. You know, I'd be really surprised if you really still don't understand. It's like I think over 2 minutes into the video and there's already a lot wrong and you don't even know it. Also, once you research education, and you can get research agreements with your friends and nation friends, so I highly recommend trying to declare friendship with them and getting a reasonable army, so you are gonna be feeling safe here. The reason why you're gonna do that is that if you declare friendship with these civilizations, they're less likely to declare war on you, and you will have a reasonable army. Then, and the civilizations will not perceive you as weak to try and conquer you, but in a really robotically, ironically stupid way. To be honest, it's funny yet painful to watch. It's Civ AI getting wrecked by a very inexperienced DD player. In general, try to have friendly diplomatic relations. If your relationship is favorable, like a positive 15, declare friendship. Don't try not to forward sell the civs unless you want to a world war to happen against you, like you'd see in this video. So that's diplomacy in a nutshell. Try not to forward sell those civilizations and try to befriend them. Once you have education, try to get research agreements with the most technologically advanced civs, as you would like to say.
Shoot. Yeah, writing, yeah. So let's focus on,
Actually, I was really pausing in here.
advanced than me. Shoot. Yeah, writing,
I was really pausing here just to analyze what your cities are trying to build here. St. Petersburg and Novgorod are building walls. Also, your workers seem to not be working these luxuries immediately. Yeah, which is gonna take a toll on your happiness and food and population growth. You don't have cotton and sugar, incense, and marble. Yeah, this is really laughably painful to watch. I mean, I know these civilizations are really aggressive, but do you really need walls at this moment in time? And do you know Oh, that you're gonna have early aggression? Because this game seems to intuitively know. I'm still bothered by the fact that you haven't gotten these luxuries at this point. You have 2 workers from what I can see. Yeah, at this point, you have 8 signs. You're still not gonna fall behind if you still play your cards right and work the luxuries. At this point, I would try to build a library on all these cities, go straight towards philosophy, and build a national college. But you don't seem to know my tactics very well. And there seems to be a bit of a miscommunication in here when it comes to me explaining your tactics. Is it just me, or do you not know the game well because you let the game do all the stuff for you? Also, you're still working as settler at this point? I won't really argue with that. I also worked a lot of settlers at this point. I'll give you a free pass here, since you're gonna need bare minimum 4 cities for a tradition in that nation. Playing with a lot of population and all.
Yeah. So let's focus on
Oh, how lovely. Persia for settled you, and you're also needing your warrior to what explore? Not a terrible idea. St. Petersburg has also grown. If I were you, each time a city grows, I always reassign the population to a much more fertile, more food tile. And I presume that you don't know what I'm saying in here. You double click in the city, you'll see all the assigned population that you can control, and then you can reassign the population into more fertile lands. However, the major thing here that you're gonna need to work on is happiness here. If you actually work the incense plantation and cotton, you will have gotten at least 15 happiness by now. Oh, I'm surprised you haven't. And if I were you, I'd try to work more workers at this point and just try to work those luxuries. Also, is it just me, or is this worker sleeping? And you should get that worker to work. I mean, I know AI hasn't even taken us over yet. It can do a lot of amazing things, and yet it's terrible at games. I'm very disappointed in you, technology. Also, you're going for writing. It's a pretty good choice at this point, since you're gonna need science. I mean, really, you need science. I've been through games where I've had low science on my early deity days. I mean, my early deity days. I didn't mean to say gays. Okay, so far we've researched pottery. Yes, makes sense that you have some pottery resource, some granary resources such as wheat. I've seen wheat, so there's no excuse for not researching pottery. You've partially researched trapping. I mean, unless if you worked some horse tiles, then and I really don't see how this is really how researching this is gonna help you. You also have animal husbandry, which means you can see horses and you can place a pasture on your sheep tiles. Also a pasture on a horse tile. And for a split second, I've seen that you research archery and the wheel. Well, I mean, if you are researching archery this early on, there has to be a really good reason for it. Are you doing it for the purposes of defending against early aggression, early war? Or I usually do that. I usually research archery for early war, and you should too. The wheel at this point haven't had your city connections yet. You don't have enough workers, so I'm highly against that. At this point, instead of working walls on your second and third city, I'd recommend you work on workers, since at this point trying to take steel workers from the AI will probably earn you some early aggression. I mean, are you willing to build 3 to 4 her archer army just to sacrifice it all? It all? Cough cough. Just try not to sacrifice your units. Save your units. Make your units survive. In the long run, if you war, theoretically, if you war for like the entirety 300 turns, you will have OP upgrades such as the ability to heal every turn, or the ability to attack twice, and etc. etc.
Small things. Pick a policy, then land it.
Landed elite, it won't be as effective if you don't work on happiness. Why aren't you working on happiness? I think the reason why you're not working on happiness is that the game's prioritizing farms over luxury tiles. It's a real, prioritize luxuries is very early on.
Well, how about we trade technologies if we have to?
Technology trades, it can be interesting if I've seen this little YouTuber that's as little as me called at AL, and one of his strategies is to rely on technology trades. I'll give you a hint. Technologies at this very early on in the game are worth 250 to 550 golds worth, if not more. Right? I mean, is it really worth your resources to trade technologies? Also, you have 4 horses research. Since this is Russia, you're gonna have twice the researchers from having a set research, which means you have at least a horse tile worked. The AI already has like all of their luxuries, and you don't. I'm very disappointed.
Nope, we don't have the chance. So let's just do it.
Okay, for a split second there, I think I saw one of your capital city building in a coliseum. Unciv Gaming, I'm pretty sure this is not a good choice to do. You haven't even declared friendship, and so the AI won't give you a pass as and just demand to not sell cities is near them. They will not give you a pass. That's for sure. If you force sell the AI, this principle goes for Civ 5D as well. If you force sell the AI, you would be the AI will get really mad. So if you don't wanna have a entire world war declared on you, don't force settle in this spot here. It's a recipe for disaster. Also, from this point on forward, he's gonna be at eternal war with the AI. He's literally destroyed plenty of incompetent AI units and their incompetent AI generals, and they still haven't managed to take this player's cities. I mean, he knows he's doing something wrong here, and he doesn't know it, and yet the AI can't even take his cities. If you forward it settle here, judging if you forward selling here, judging by the geography, the two ships that are likely to declare war are the Siamese, aka the Thai, the Iranians, and the Chinese. So I highly recommend against that. You should, I mean, you've explored north of your capital. Have you at least explored like east somewhere around here? There's plenty of lands to settle eastward.
And we're surrounded by Lampang.
I mean, when it comes to Fort Settling City, wait, is if this location seems legendary, but in my eyes, every location's legendary. And Jerry, I mean, Fort Selling the AI is a terrible idea. Yeah, yeah, to ODR. I know you're gonna settle on a hill, but this is gonna cause you to have a really bad world war. I think the reason why Siam didn't attack you is that it's, you you were like a city distance away from you were a city distance away from their near cities. Is settling here will cause a world war to break out. But why haven't you at least settled more north or east at this point in time? I know you settled eastward later on in this video, but why haven't you settled north or eastward? Okay, one of the notifications has said that Novgorod has started work on a circus. I mean, I'd work like libraries and luxury tiles by now. Oh, I mean, let's see how long I can survive Diety. Well, it's gonna depend a lot on luck, Unciv. Since why a lot on luck? Well, you're letting a game do stuff for you, or you don't know what the science production AI is gonna do, or assign.
Shoot.
Okay, what did you research again?
So let's just create another city here. And we're surrounded by Lampang and
Okay, judging by your tech tree, you research mining. Not big of a surprise there. I seen a mine in your capital. Masonry, I guess I can tell that you've researched this already since you've been building walls. Construction, I can tell that you have researched that since who can build coliseums. I don't know if you actually got bronze working though. Well, however, I don't think you'll have any luxury tiles on a jungle, so it's safe to say that it's very likely you haven't researched that yet. Trapping is really decent in tech, but it's not one of the most powerful or good techs or research. I mean, yes, you can make camps and circuses, but you can only build circuses if you have a horse tile improved. And since you have a horse tile improved, you can get 2 extra happiness. But why have 2 extra happiness when you can have 5 happiness from a luxury? Or specifically 15 happiness, cough cough cough. I'm surprised you haven't researched. I'm really surprised you haven't even got to the point of working the luxury tiles.
shoot.
I mean, you are literally on -2 on the happiness.
Surrounded.
You feel surrounded. Dude, you are not entirely surrounded. You can settle up north, you can settle east, but as long as it's not near the AI, then you'll be fine. Sailing here, researching sailing here really doesn't make any sense here. You're not near towards any coastline or any ocean-based resources. Is were you trying to build a navy when you're are actually more of a inland civilization? Doesn't make any sense. Calendar. Now this is the research you really should have gotten a long time ago. Much of your resources most of your luxury resources require calendar tech, because cotton, incense, and oh, and sugar will require the plantation here. I think one of the reasons why I think another reason why the auto assign in worker AI didn't work the luxury tiles here is because you haven't had the research calendar. You should go straight towards the text that will give you access to the luxury. He's within your city range. For example, you've hold a city here. Alright, somewhere around here. You have stone, you have gold, you have cotton. Cotton requires there's plantation and plantations in calendar, so get calendar. You have gold, gold requires a mine, so get mining, since mining has the mine, and so on for anything that will give you happiness. It's also a stone tower requires a quarry. A quarry is in masonry, so get masonry. And once you have the text research for these luxuries, work on them immediately. You're gonna need the happiness. Trust me. Also, have you realized is that you have up north to settle? I mean, I know it's not fertile, but you can just research optics and build a lighthouse here. Alright. You can also get a granary up in the city. Work this gem tile with a mine. Work this camp tile. Work this tile with a camp, and your city, your northern city here, will be a fertile city that will grow a lot over time. Your decisions here really don't seem to play your cards right. The momentum in this game is really against you, mainly because you don't know what you're actually doing. Your playstyle isn't really suited for this difficulty, I'm afraid to say. This is what I'm talking about. This is one of the reasons why you shouldn't forward settle the AI on Deity, unless you know what you're doing. In this case, you don't. I mean, you know that if you knew that you were gonna have a war declared against you, you would have manually. If I knew that I was gonna have a world war against me, then I would just try and get a very small army early on and go on the defense. If you're experienced like me, then you can go on the offense. But at this point of time, I just recommend raising cities for happiness purposes. Why did the civilizations declare war on you? Well, the reason why is that this city is close to their cities. Wouldn't you be mad if someone stole your city spots and forward settled you a lot? As in, what I mean by forward settle is settle all cities close towards me, close towards you. Wouldn't you be mad if a random dude just settled a city next to you? Wouldn't you? I'm repeating this many times, mainly because you probably wouldn't understand me. And because of my weird communication. Calendar... You really should have gone calendar very early on here. And you will have gotten access to the plantation and the stoneworks. Since you have early aggression, you're gonna need to try and negotiate peace as early as you can. That's the power of diplomacy. Why don't you use diplomacy? Okay, for a split second, I seen St. Petersburg work a circus, and I seen in yours or other two cities here working coliseums. I mean, why work on a coliseum when you work on a library? You can just work on luxuries here. Why haven't you worked your luxuries immediately this early on? Rostov has started work on a granary. Dude, if I were you, I would start working walls on the city like immediately. Since if I were you and I were settling the city, I would start working walls immediately since I don't have a declaration of friendship with all these civilizations. At this point, you should really know how to use diplomacy well. It seems to me that you really don't use diplomacy, since in your videos you really don't declare friendship usually. And how often do you really trade? In my run with India, I traded a lot because I had a lot of luxuries, because I have 3 to 4 city-state allies. Why don't you trade anyways? I might be wrong on that part, though, but how often do you really trade and use diplomacy? Besides using it to declare war on others.
What?
Really? You're weirded out by the fact that these civilizations have declared war on you? If you were in the situation that you were feeling a lot powerful, you're a player that's on shifting difficulty, and some random player, by the way, you're multiplayer. If you're some player that's on shifting difficulty, and if some player settled a city very, very close to you, how would you feel? Ask yourself that, and that's how these AI would feel, but on potentially much hissy-fitty level.
I just settled near them.
Duh. You just settled near them? Well, duh. It's gonna cause a world war that's gonna last for the rest of the video. Oh, I'm surprised you haven't started working on an army like immediately in your cities. You should work a lot of production, because as you can need that production to work on walls and to build up an army. Why haven't you built up an army? Also, you have enough gold for a catapult, so why haven't you gotten a catapult yet? At this point, I'm really surprised you haven't even declared on Saya. I'm here. If you have plans to go forward, sell the AI, you better know what you are doing. use some tips from Marpus here. Try to bribe the AI into war and then pillage your... And then cut your own trade short. And then you get to keep your own stuff. I mean, if I were you and I knew that I would potentially be at war with these civilizations, then I would try to bribe them. Bribe all these civs into war with each other. I don't know about Siam. They're primarily cultural civilizations, so they're far more likely to negotiate peace. However, non-cultural civs are far more likely to be at war for like extremely long time. And from the notifications here, it seems to me that your de facto scout, aka warrior, has been attacked. Why?
I guess I'll just have to defend it.
Oh, AI is so incompetent. They're literally ramming their warriors and army to death through a very, very terribly made meat grinder. And then meat grinders you. Well, honest. In a metaphorical way. Oh, look at those lovely, lovely notifications here. It seems to me that this notifications here are talking about this scout, this warrior, and some other warrior. Also, the notifications say that this warrior has attacked one of your cities. Oh look! Looks like one of these civilizations just built a great library. Nice. At this point in the game, you're really not gonna get enough science to outpace the AI in the late game. You're at this point you're gonna start to fall behind because you're not working libraries for the National College. Instead, you're gonna need the National College for science production reasons. You won't always be technologically advanced. And here, and through my experience, you can and at other times you won't. And the civilizations will catch up to you. Huh? Oh look, another warrior's here. Also, why aren't you using this warrior yet? Why haven't you worked these luxury tiles yet? I think it's because the automation AI is more focused on these tile improvements than the luxuries. Maybe Air needs to reprogram these workers to do that to make automation a bit more viable.
There we go. Optics.
Why would you research optics if you don't have a coastal city? I mean, that is like discovering agriculture on a planet that barely has any fertile land at all. Also, why aren't you building an army? Okay, for this analysis here, if the AI, throughout my experience, I know that when the AI has the opportunity, it will try to either steal or take one of your workers. So keep your workers safe. That's a tip here. Keep them at a 2-tile radius away from these civilizations here. Also, you're next to Persia. They have the acclimated ability. If they pop a golden age, then and they will move significantly more faster and more swifter than you can handle. Yeah, and yes, I played as Diety Persia. You can really win a early domination victory. Yeah, yeah, playing your cards right and all. If I were you, I would bombard with these two with this warrior and then steal my own worker back. Like, when it comes to war, you're gonna need to strategically attack like the enemy and know and know the AI's behavior. Or that's the only tips I'm gonna give you. Oh, if you have any ranged units such as archers and catapults this early on, attack with them first, since melee units will need to deal damage in order to do said damage to the enemy. So, TLDR, make sure your ranged units attack first, and treat your melee units like meat shields. At this point, it's literally an hour in, and this video might abruptly end. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.